After enactment, the government should ensure there is a robust public educational campaign to help families and mental health care professionals understand the new provisions. The new law will only be useful if the people who need it and those in the profession properly understand its parts, its responsibilities, and its powers. Madam Speaker, the mental health and well-being of a child is affected by things like proper sleep, exercise, and proper nutrition. We also know that brain development in children requires good and proper nutrition. And many children in our society go to school each day hungry, Madam Speaker. Inflation is having a great impact on our society. And the brave Davis inflation on top of the national or international inflation is even making this even worse. Madam Speaker, Bahamians are stressed. They are stressed out because of the high cost of electricity and the electricity costs to increase by an additional 160% of fuel cost. Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister said he had never seen the cabinet paper and he was not aware. So, Madam Speaker, the question is, did the authority in the Ministry of Finance, the Financial Secretary, usurped the constitutional power and the constitutional responsibility of the Minister of Finance, the Prime Minister? Or did the Prime Minister, the Minister of Finance, relegate his responsibility to the FS, and under the Constitution, he cannot do that? And Madam Speaker, that is why I've said repeatedly that the Prime Minister or the Minister of Finance need to remain at his desk and deal with matters which are important. Madam Speaker, so I asked the question to the Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, what would he do? What is he going to do? Whether his powers were usurped or whether unconstitutionally he delegated his powers to the FS, which cannot be done. The Prime Minister must deal with that matter, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Bahamians are stressed because of the additional cost on top of the inflation, the 10% additional cost VAT on bread basket item. Madam Speaker, everybody know my favorite dish is corned beef, but the price doubled on me. The price doubled.
You can't afford it? You can't afford it?
But the price for caviar went down. I don't want caviar, Madam Speaker. I want my corned beef. Madam Speaker.
You all made it duty free though.
Bahamians are stressed. They are stressed out with the increased cost in medicine, the additional 10% VAT that they did not have to pay, in addition to the inflation that they experienced. And Bahamians are making choices today in a stressful manner, which is most important, medication or food. And they are taking their food. Madam Speaker, Bahamians are stressed out because of the increase, in some instances, 200, 300% of real property tax on their property. which is then added to the mortgage, and individuals who were happy knowing that they've only had 1 year of mortgage left are now told with the addition they may have 4 or 5 years left and an increased mortgage rate. Madam Speaker, even my heart hurts to know that they are stressed. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, I want to repeat. Many children go to school each day hungry. Their parents do not have the money to provide them with enough to eat or enough of certain foods. Their school lunch programs to help those most in need. However, so much more is necessary for so many more children. During the last election, the FNM proposed a universal school meals program. I call on the government, in the interest of social justice, equity, and the physical and mental health of our children and youth, to consider the creation of this universal school program. This program, Madam Speaker, would build on the existing meals program. This program would provide nutritionally balanced, free breakfast, lunch, and snacks to all school children in the government-operated education system, regardless of family income. And this program would also provide after-school educational supervision to help with their homeworks and, most of all, sports, which is important for mental health. Exercise, Madam Speaker. It would be available to every child in the government-operated school system throughout the country. It would be universal, so there would be no stigma attached to any child getting food, and the program would be optional. A universal program should significantly draw on Bahamian food products, including fish, poultry meats, and Bahamian-grown fruits and vegetables. Such a program could help grow our agriculture and fishery sectors, while also providing nutrition to all children in the government-operated school systems free of charge. We need to help our children develop better eating habits, drawing on more organic and locally grown foods from the Bahamas. And this new program, Madam Speaker, would be an investment in our children, an investment in their mental health, and an investment in their future. We want to make sure that we lessen the burden on hard-working families and help children focus on learning and not on where they will get their next meal. Hunger and insufficient nutrition affects a child's ability to concentrate and ability to learn. Better health and nutrition allow children to learn and to perform better. A universal school program would relieve parents of having to budget for lunch. It would represent a significant savings for homes with more than one child. Madam Speaker, this would be a significant contribution to eliminating childhood hunger and childhood obesity. It will also improve brain development and the mental well-being of our children and, most importantly, our grandchildren. Madam Speaker, while this legislation will help update how we assist those who suffer from mental illness, this administration must also do more to help prevent crime, which is causing mental stress and difficulties in our country. I also note that some crimes are committed because of mental health issues. And while Prime Minister was seeing the sights in Egypt and dancing, the killings continued here in the Bahamas. By the media's count, there have been nearly 120 murders thus far this year. And sadly, with 6 weeks left in the year and the current pace of violence, it is possible that there will be a further murder record on this Prime Minister's watch. This level of violence and killing leaves family members and friends in grief and anguish, and most importantly, Madam Speaker, they are stressed out. The mental health problems caused by this violence and the breakdown of order, especially in New Providence, is not adequately discussed. Madam Speaker, order and law seems to be going out of the box. What happened to the investigation on the member for Elizabeth? She was accused of an assault on a police officer. Now the Prime Minister said he will have the best investigative team dealing with FTX. For God's sake, I hope it's not the same investigative team. Are we in trouble? Madam Speaker, the member for Elizabeth had also broken the law in terms of issuing over 600 plates, but we do nothing. Madam Speaker, that itself caused stress and caused internal conflicts. Madam Speaker, it caused internal conflicts because individuals do not know whether or not they should proceed, whether they would be treated as the government member is treated, or they would be treated differently and subsequently have the law applied to them. Madam Speaker, they are not even following the procurement bill. Again, stress. There's also trauma, Madam Speaker, when men, women, and children witness shootings, stabbings, choppings, and other forms of violence that are too common on New Providence. The Prime Minister has failed to come up with a crime plan that helps to improve the situation. Instead, he jets off whenever he can, avoiding the responsibilities of his office, and that's why we are in this problem with BPL, because he said he did not see it, and his power was usurped or delegated. And he must answer which one happened and what would he do. Now, Madam Speaker, that he and the out of control press secretary and their traveling companions have now seen Egypt, we might imagine they are busy planning their next overseas trip paid for by us, the taxpayers. Meanwhile, the chaos continues on the streets here at home. On the campaign trail, the member for Cat Island talked about how wonderful his new day would be. The new day, the Bahamian people, I don't want no chorus today. The new day the Bahamian people were promised has turned into a horrible nightmare.
I believe that.
Madam Speaker, I thank the many mental health care professionals who dedicated their lives to the well-being of others. I support this legislation to improve our national capacity to better respond to the mental health needs of our people. And Madam Speaker, as I end my substantive contribution to the debate on mental health, on this Mental Health Bill 2022, it is necessary for me to say a few very brief words on a matter of national importance. The collapse of FTX is news around the world. Questions are being asked at home.
The chair recognizes the honorable member for West Cranbourne and Bimini.
The member is aware that if the member is aware of a matter sub judice, it is not to be discussed in here. You know full well You know full well if that were not so.
Members,
No, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. You fully understand the rules. Madam, former Prime Minister fully understands the rules. And do not violate the rules. Because if that were so, we could be asking questions but a matter that's sub judice right now. And should we do that to your side? Do you want us to do that to your side? There's a matter sub judice right now, reference to your side. Should we ask questions? No, we respect the rules. We respect the laws. And you know full well. We expect you to abide. We expect you to.
Many offending
You know the rules.
have invested in such a matter. They are stressed out and they are asking me questions to ask questions on their behalf. I have a right.
honorable members,
I have a
honorable
right to
members,
ask the questions. I have a
honorable
right.
members,
I represent.
honorable members, members,
You know that quite well.
members,
You know that quite well.
members. Order that we suspend for 15 minutes, please.
I don't know why you weren't trying to run the clock.
Honorable members, in the last sitting of this House, the Speaker made a ruling that as we debate this bill, we would not deviate. And to date, that ruling has not been followed. I would like to pause as we go to page 28 of the rule book. 20. And it says, any reference to a matter awaiting or under adjudication in a court will not be permitted unless the Speaker's discretion that reference will not interfere in any material way with that court matter. All of us in here are quite aware that the FTX matter is under the proceedings of the court, and it's very unparliamentary for us as parliamentarians to obstruct the courts from conducting its business. And I will not allow those things to happen, not under my watch. There is a time, if there are questions to be placed, and it's called on the member statements, I would allow members to place questions on the notice for future meetings. And those questions, if they are relevant for us to be able to answer in this place, will be answered on the second Wednesday, which is question time. But until then, we will conduct ourselves very parliamentary, and we will abide by the rules that are governed in this place and other places that make us look like shining parliamentarians as we are. So moving forth, I will allow persons to continue in our debate of the Mental Health Act, but let's deviate from any proceedings that's in the hands of the courts. Are we all clear on that matter?
Madam Speaker, the rule speaks to matters under adjudication. There is no dispute, to my knowledge. There are appointed liquidators, court-appointed liquidators, together with the Securities Commission. There's no pending order, every order or no pending decision. Every order and decision that they've requested has been made to date, even the most recent indemnity with respect to putting assets in a wallet. But there's nothing pending, so it's not under adjudication. Correct. It's under liquidation. Not even FTX is disputing this matter, Madam Speaker. Yeah. I'm advising the House. We're here to advise the people. And it is the Speaker's decision. But if you haven't thought of what I'm saying before, it's worth considering now. And I would like, Madam Speaker, to be aware of these facts in this position as well. I'm not insisting or even asking that she change her decision. I'm just stating for the record that so unfair. It's not clear to me that this matter is in fact under adjudication. It's before the court, but that's not what the rule protects. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes, and I understand that, Honourable Member, but without cause, this matter is before the court, and so we will abide by those rules. The chair recognizes the Honourable Member for Marco City.
Madam Speaker, when you raised this matter in the last sitting, we took the time to get advice on the matter. I believe several members opposite are fully aware that one of the court filings had to do with the bankruptcy issue. There are very, very specific issues, technical issues relative to that dimension of the case. There are a host of things related to the collapse of a major business in the Bahamas that are within bounds that can be discussed or questions can be raised. As long as none of the speakers are getting into the material or the granular matters that could affect any outcome. And I have not heard anything that the member for Kalani was saying or that we said in the previous sitting that falls in the category of affecting the material outcome of any investigation. So, Madam Speaker, we respect the rules of the House. We respect Madam Speaker, but we are not prepared to be silenced on raising questions that do not affect the material outcome of any investigation. So that is something we cannot comply with. Yeah.
The chair recognizes the Honourable Member for West Bahama and Bimini.
Madam Speaker, the difficulty is the member for Marco is not an authority on the investigation, and the member is simply passing a view because he's seeking to have favor to allow for the member for Kalani to raise some points that they believe will be political expedient to do so. The reality, Madam Speaker, is this. We don't know. And because we don't know, prevention is better than cure. He started his comments by saying matters filed by the court to do with bankruptcy. The truth is before the court. It is sub judice. And the member for Kalani fully comprehends, and I expect the member for Kalani to accept.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable Members, and I understand where everybody is coming from, but there are rules that govern this place. And we must stay in the parameters of the rules that govern us as a body. And I said that we can raise questions, but there is a place and there's a time on our order of business for questions. I also indicated that we will stay in tune with what we came to debate, and we are debating the Medical Health Act. So is that a problem for members to understand that this chair has made that ruling? I'm not denying anybody from putting questions that they may have on the notices for future meetings. I'm not denying that. I'm allowing.
My member has 6 minutes left, Madam Thank you very much.
Very calmly.
Unlike others, I am a law-abiding citizen.
$100 million man.
I'm a law-abiding citizen. And the Parliament is under the leadership of you, the Speaker, and I respect your ruling. But what I would say, Madam Speaker,
I love Kalani.
upon my departure of this Parliament, if the press were outside, I would give my questions to them. I put forth my questions. And in the absence of the press, I will send my questions to the press so that people can see what questions I wanted to ask. But Madam Speaker, I respect the ruling of her Lordship. Madam Speaker, I would like, and it's written clearly in international magazines, as the Minister of Health, written clearly in international magazines, it's done in institutions throughout the world. And I think Jamaica is now embarking on a similar procedure. I would like the Minister of Health to consider, with respect to reducing the mental outcome or mental illnesses that children can suffer, especially those of boarders in the institution, to do allow a 4-6 month period where animals, pets, are introduced into the institution, be it dogs that they can play with, because it's been shown, Madam Speaker, that this decreased the incidence of mental illnesses, especially in our children with boarders, who are boarders in the institution. I'd put that forth for the Minister of Health to consider it, using the international protocol without any problems being introduced to the institution. But Madam Speaker, I have not heard the outcome of the grocers in terms of the price control. And therefore, I'm wondering if the government realized or recognized that they were on the wrong wicket, they were wrong, and rather than answering or carrying any further, they retreated into silence and allowing it to just take its course, because they were wrong. Madam Speaker, with respect to Kalani, I drop my grandson to school every morning. Nowadays, I'm on drop off and pick up. I missed pickup today. I normally pick up at 3 o'clock today. I had to get a substitute to pick up for me. But Madam Speaker, what is distressing? The roundabout from Old Fort Bay going to Lightfoot Key, every morning the voyages are littered with garbage. Candy wrappers, McDonald's, Burger King, Kentucky, sodas, etc. And it's becoming very distressing. I'm asking the government if we can enforce the laws with respect to construction workers and whoever are on the back of these trucks and every day littering the community. We can only improve if we enforce the laws, but the government cannot utilize its manpower every day to clean up the voyages throughout this country. We must enforce our laws. And Madam Speaker, last week, I spent a little vacation time, my second residence in South Abaco, and I want the Minister of Works, South Abaco. And while driving the Ernest Dane Highway heading south, Madam Speaker, the street is filled with potholes. And I'm frightened for individuals who do not know the area because there are no lights on that main thoroughfare. And individuals who are not familiar will fall in one of those potholes, injure themselves, and possibly end up as a fatality. I ask the government to kindly repair the road before we have a fatality between now and Christmas. Yeah. Then another thing that bothered me, and the Minister of Agriculture is here. Madam Speaker, a lot of things we can prevent if we catch them early. While visiting Abaco, there are flea markets, food markets throughout the downtown area. It would be nice if we can identify an area within the Abaco community, and we can start what you call the Abaco flea market. What y'all call it now? Food market? Farmers market. You can have an organized farmers market so that individuals can sell their wares in an organized manner. You'd improve the hygiene, etc. Because if you don't deal with it now, it will continue to spread throughout the community, and eventually, we have shanty towns with homes. We will have food shanty town. So we have to, and that's why I mentioned it. I'm sure he will put an Abaco, what is it? Farmers market, an Abaco farmers market in place so that individuals can sell their products.
You do better with the farmers market than you do with the hotel.
I wonder if the government would report. Last year, the carnival came here, and we got no answer as to how the carnival got here, but the carnival had to leave. And there was a dispute as to who was going to pay for the carnival being immobilized and subsequently returned. They will be coming back here very soon. So we want to know, did the carnival personnel pay for their return from whence they came, or did we use the taxpayers' money when it did not fall in the government's bracket? It was a political thing, and therefore we'd like some answer on that. So, Madam Speaker, with respect to Kalani, great problem is littering and noise pollution, and I would like the member to kindly, we are respecting and showing great appreciation for our women. This is not the time to lay off any woman, especially a time of inflation, single parent, etc. I would provide you the copy of the communication there. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member.